Today, we wanted to touch bases with some of our teachers and students to see how they're adapting to distance learning. Even if our campuses are closed, our teachers are working extremely hard to ensure our students are still learning. And it's taking a lot to adapt to this new situation. With the pandemic happening, I've had to learn how to adapt as well. We cannot meet face to face, we cannot have these school visits, but we can do them virtually. And so I've had to adapt, I've had to do some new learning as well. And what I found is we're learning from each other. And we can still send our love and compassion to each other, even if it's done virtually. So today we're so lucky to have Tammy Saito, kindergarten teacher at Wailuku Elementary School. She will be sharing about how she and her students have been adapting to distance learning. Hi, Tammy.
Hi, Lori.
Hey, if you could just share some of your feelings of how is it how are you feeling being separated from your students?
I definitely did not picture this year coming to an end like this. Well, kind of no one did, but I wasn't ready to hear, March 6th was the last time I was going to get to see my kids. Usually I'm able to, kind of share, I create a class video with them and share that. And, having the kids kind of had that transition and that time to say bye to one another before they go on to the next grade level. So, my students are kind of missing that experience. So I'm a bit sad that, the students are missing out with that opportunity. There's so many more smiles and hugs to be shared, other memories, but I feel good knowing that our state is taking the time to keep the students and their families safe.
I agree. When you talk with with your students online or via the phone, how are the students saying they're feeling?
One of the parents were sharing with me through Class Dojo. She had mentioned to me that one of her child was asking, why are they teaching them versus, me being able to teach them. So I had to actually reach out to the student, and I told the students, I said, during this time, we all have to stay at home so that you're safe. Miss Saito wants to know that you're safe, but I've asked your parents, if they can help me out during this time in teaching, and, they agreed to help. So, I'm really appreciative to your parents. And the student was like, okay, had little tears. But, definitely I was able to share with them that through WebEx, through some online platforms, Google Meets is another one that I was able to create a different kind of learning. So I had to explain that to the students that although they're not able to physically, see me in person, they would still be able to see me through, either their phones or their iPads, computers, depending on what devices the parents had at home.
Going into the online platform, can you tell me some of the obstacles you've run into with this distance learning, how you've overcome?
Just yesterday, I had my first WebEx meeting, and it was really nice to see five of my students' faces. At first, I was kind of nervous. I'm like kindergarten students with WebEx. I wasn't sure how things were gonna go, and once I saw their smiling faces, my worries kind of disappeared. But I definitely have to thank the parents. I think in collaboration with the parents and having the parents sitting next to their child definitely helped, overcome some of the obstacles.
So, in closing, what message would you like to share with your students and with their parents?
I would have to say, first of all, thank you very, very much, for all that the families are doing. Thank you for being patient with us teachers, as we're trying our best to continue to support the students' learning. Please be patient, remain calm, try to be flexible, and also take the time to forgive yourself. Take the time to teach your child new things that might not be able to be learned in the classroom, such as like cooking, or maybe even having your child help with chores at home. Allow your child to take the time to have some fun, be silly despite what the craziness that's going outside the world. And, while we're apart, find a way to reach out, find a way to stay connected with your child's teacher. We're definitely here to help, and we want to support you in the best way that we can. But thank you very much for all that you're doing.
Thank you, Tammy, for taking time out of your busy schedule and for sharing your experiences as well as your students' and families' experiences regarding this distance learning. It's been a challenge. But I gotta tell you, it warms my heart to hear how you provide extra support to not only your students but their families. It just shows that together we will get through this.